Alright, guys, welcome to the Wrestling Angle. My name is Chad Z. I am your host. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Raw and how that went. I want to welcome everybody to the stream. If you're the first time here, we talk wrestling and a lot of it. I not only watch WWE, I watch Impact, I watch AEW, I watch New Japan, I watch MLW, I watch ROH. So you get pretty much and I also watch the Indies too. So I get pretty much a taste of every brand of wrestling that you can possibly have. So and just a background on me, if you're the first time here. I've been a wrestling fan since 1984. My favorite wrestler is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, big Four Horsemen fan, and still to this day, still one of my favorite wrestlers. And he's still going, even though he's not working anymore in the ring. He's doing stuff outside the ring, so that's that. I used to, anybody that's seen shoot interviews that are done by the wrestlers, and they all talk about watching wrestling on Saturday morning, sitting in front of the TV and watching WWF and NWA. That was me. Instead of being outside playing, with the other kids, I was inside watching wrestling. So, and everything right now pretty much revolves around wrestling with me. I can always take a situation and move it back to wrestling. So, pretty much encompasses my whole life, and it drives my wife absolutely nuts. So, anyways, we're here to talk about Raw, and I want to give you my thoughts on the show. The show was a real good show tonight. Although I was a little turned off by the baloney that they were doing with The Miz, but in the end it turned out to what I thought it was going to be, and that belt changed hands tonight. So Bobby Lashley gets his very first WWE title, heavyweight championship, I should say. He's been Intercontinental Champion and U.S. Champion. So, but I've seen a lot of improvements in Bobby Lashley the last couple weeks, and ironically enough, Raw has been exactly that. It's been the Bobby Lashley show. So, and tonight was no different. And I think the ratings will probably show it. I don't get into ratings too much. That's Dave Meltzer's job, and all the other dirt sheet writers. That's their job. All I care about is the product that I see on the television, and Raw has been very good for the past couple weeks. So, anyways, so we started off the night with Drew McIntyre in the ring, and he cut a promo saying that he was stabbed in the back by Sheamus. He doesn't understand where it came from. He talks about how he got attacked by Bobby Lashley, and Miz called Miz the resident cockroach, and he talks about how Miz cashed in the Money in the Bank. We then get Miz coming out with John Morrison, and the Miz explains to McIntyre that what did he expect? He said he was going to cash in the Money in the Bank, and he did. So he did become WWE champion. for 2 weeks. So, but I think by having Miz the champion for those 2 weeks, you can consider him a transitional champion because he is set to be in a tag team match with John Morrison against Damien Priest and Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. Unless the plans have changed, that is the match that's going to be taking place. So we still got one more pay-per-view before WrestleMania, and that's Fastlane, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see what they do with Bobby Lashley going into Fastlane. I personally would love to see Lashley go into Mania as champion. Let him get a nice little reign under his belt, and then whether they have McIntyre beat him at WrestleMania or not, McIntyre is going to be owed a rematch, and he is going to eventually get it. So whether that takes place at Fastlane or WrestleMania, who knows? So, but the ideal matchup would be McIntyre versus Lashley. But as we know, WWE doesn't do what the fans want. They never do. And when they do it, they don't do it the right way. And so that's that. So then we get MVP comes out, and he basically tells Miz that he has till 9 o'clock to when the match takes place between him and Bobby Lashley. And then we get Sheamus coming out, which causes a match between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. And this match was really good. It was it had a lot of back and forth action to it. You can tell that these guys have worked together in the past, but McIntyre did end up defeating Sheamus, and there was a little bit of an exchange at the end of the match between Sheamus and McIntyre. Whether it was McIntyre saying, "I don't understand why you're doing this," or whatever, but so McIntyre beat Sheamus with the Claymore kick. Then we get Naomi in the back. She's walking in the back, and she runs into Nia Jax, and that basically sets up Nia Jax versus Naomi for the next match, and it basically turned into a squash match. So Nia Jax, they're really building her up strong. I know I've talked pretty bad about her in the past. Her last couple matches that she's had have been really good. So she beat Naomi clean in this match with the Samoan drop. And then come Wednesday, they're going to be defending the tag belts against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. Now the backstory to this is that Shayna Baszler basically beat the crap out of Dakota Kai when she was a babyface down in NXT. So now she's got some backup in Raquel Gonzalez, who this girl should be pushed to the moon because she's got a lot of talent. And I would really like to see the belts change hands on Wednesday. Give Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez a chance to have a run with the belts. And it would bring them up to the main roster for at least one or two of the shows. And then they can lose the belts back at the pay-per-view or whatever. But like I said, WWE generally doesn't do what the fans want, and But I would really like to see Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez get a run with the tag belts, and then we would actually see the tag belts more on NXT than we would on the main roster. Because right now they don't really have any solid tag teams other than Lana and Naomi. And you had the mixed match tag team of Charlotte and Asuka, and it looks like Asuka's going to be facing Charlotte at WrestleMania. So, and then you got Rhea Ripley coming in, which they, at the beginning of the second hour, they hyped Rhea Ripley coming soon, and had a nice vignette with her. And I would love to see them bring her in and just have her dominate. The way I would book it is that I would have it as a three-way at WrestleMania between Rhea Ripley, Charlotte, and Asuka, and have Rhea Ripley pin Charlotte to redeem her loss at last year's WrestleMania. So, because it's time for Charlotte to do the job for Rhea, because they need to, they're going to push this girl to the moon too, just like Raquel Gonzalez. So that's how I would book it, and hopefully that happens. So then we start the second hour, and obviously it's 9 o'clock, so we have The Miz versus Bobby Lashley. And the match didn't even take place, because as the Miz was walking out, he bent over in pain, saying he was having cramps. My daughter made a comment saying that maybe he's having his period, which I thought was kind of funny. But they did a thing where Bobby Lashley came into the back and attacked The Miz. And basically he was leaning to his side, and Morrison kept yelling, get a towel, and I think what they were trying to get at was that Miz basically shit his pants. So that was that. The match didn't take place. Then Adam Pearce says to The Miz, he doesn't care if he has to carry him out there. He's going to be defending the belt at the 10 o'clock hour. So that's that. So then we get a Braun Strowman segment where he comes out and basically says there's a conspiracy going on between Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon, how they're holding him back. Shane comes out and says that both him and Adam Pearce come out, and they say that Strowman needs to learn how to work with WWE management. So then Shane sets up a tag team title match with Strowman and Adam Pearce versus the Hurt Business. And basically what ends up happening is Benjamin and Alexander beat Braun Strowman and Adam Pearce to retain the belts when Adam Pearce got pinned. So Adam Pearce got himself out of the ring pretty quickly, and Strowman was there in Shane's face and basically yelling at him and telling him that he needs to fix this. I think what they're doing is they're setting up a match between Strowman and Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. because basically Shane has been on the show pretty much since after Royal Rumble. So generally when that happens, Shane wants to get himself on WrestleMania, and we'll probably see some spectacular bump that he generally takes at WrestleMania. So that's probably what's going to end up happening there. Next up, we get Damien Priest with Bad Bunny versus Elias and Jackson Riker. The one thing that really surprised me about this match is that Elias got a lot of offense in. But Damien Priest ended up defeating Elias, and with the lights out, or he used to hit the lights for the pinfall win. They basically said that this really wasn't a good match. I don't agree. I think, like I said, Elias got a lot of offense in. There were a couple botched spots. I really think that they're using Damien Priest the wrong way. I think what they're doing is they're using a guy that was a tremendous talent in NXT, and they're trying to use him to get Bad Bunny over, and it's terrible. I mean, Bad Bunny shouldn't even be out there, to be perfectly honest with you. And the fact that he's the 24/7 champion makes that belt even more of a joke than it really is. So, at least when R-Truth had it, or anybody else had it, people would get pinned, and then we'd have a new 24/7 champion, and then we can expect Truth to do something sneaky to get the belt back. He can't even do that because Damien Priest is basically protecting Bad Bunny. So the fact that they're going to have Bad Bunny wrestle at WrestleMania just kind of makes me sick to my stomach. I understand that they have to have celebrities there, but he doesn't need to be wrestling. He doesn't need to be singing. He could just be in the crowd, and they can give him a mention. But the fact that this guy's training to be a wrestler, I don't even understand half the music that he sings. He's supposed to be some kind of rapper. That's not the type of rap that I know. Old school rap is what I remember. NWA, 2 Live Crew, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, that type of stuff. Not this goofball Bad Bunny. So that's that. So then we hit the third hour, and we get they show the commercial for the Big E feature on the network for his 24-hour thing. They've done a really nice job with these 24 segments, and they're not really segments. They're more or less like an hour long, hour to 2 hour long, and they do a really nice job on it. So then we get a Randy Orton segment where Kayla Braxton is interviewing Randy Orton in the back. Orton doesn't know what happened last week, and those of you that didn't see last week's show, Orton basically spit up black goop out of his mouth, similar to what Alexa did when she was sitting in the corner the one night. And Randy Orton is sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, on the screen in the background, Alexa Bliss appears, and she's basically laughing and says that she's getting ready to bring him back. A hooded figure appears walking down the hallway, takes the hood off. It's Randy Orton. His eyes are completely black. So basically Randy Orton is talking to Randy Orton. There's a nice little touch here with the with giving him the black eyes. Obviously, the segment was taped earlier, but they're doing a really nice job with this, and they're building up the fact that the Fiend's coming back. So whether he comes back as the Fiend or he comes back as Bray Wyatt, or who knows, or maybe comes back as something completely different. So, but they've been doing a really nice job, like I said, building up the fact that he's coming back. And the Fiend versus Randy Orton, it's basically money. Randy Orton's been around. He can work pretty much with everybody. He's got history with the Fiend back when Bray Wyatt was just Bray Wyatt, and he burnt down Bray Wyatt's house and set Sister Abigail's grave on fire. So, they're doing a nice job in building this up. So then we go to the 10 o'clock hour, and we're supposed to have Bobby Lashley versus the Miz, and the Miz basically grabs the belt and he runs out of the building. So he ended up getting counted out, so he retained the title. So then MVP says to Shane McMahon that he needs to make this right, and Shane basically does, and tells Lashley that if Miz doesn't show up for his title match at the end of the show, that they're going to strip him of the title and give it to Lashley. Then we get a Charlotte Flair promo. She basically says that she wants to face Asuka at WrestleMania, and she noted that Bianca Belair is going to be facing Sasha Banks for the SmackDown title, so she wants to face Asuka for the women's belt, or for the Raw title. That gets interrupted by Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, and they basically they both say that, what does Charlotte think, she can just come back in and get a title match? I mean, she came back in and got a World Tag Team title match, and Charlotte basically said that she just wanted to be in the background. She just wanted to have a good partner, and now that they don't have the belts, now she wants to face Asuka. So then we get a match between Charlotte Flair and Shayna Baszler, and it was not a good match at all, and considering the two people that were in there, it just wasn't a good match. And Charlotte ended up defeating Shayna Baszler. It really wasn't anything to say about that. So then they have a countdown clock, and basically Miz has 15 minutes. They have a 6-man tag team match, and it's U.S. Champion Riddle and Lucha House Party. They go up against Retribution. They end up defeating them. That sparks a match between Mustafa Ali and Riddle, and Mustafa ended up defeating Riddle, and it was a non-title match. So we could probably see a U.S. title match at Fastlane with Mustafa facing the champion Riddle. And let's hope Riddle walks out with the belt, because I would really like to see him move into WrestleMania as champion. And who he faces, that I don't know as of yet. And I really don't have a good guess, because because all the people that I would choose are already locked up in matches. So maybe they can have like a three-way dance or something like that. But yeah, look to see Mustafa Ali face Riddle at Fastlane for the U.S. belt. Then we finally get Bobby Lashley versus The Miz, and basically it turns into a lumberjack match. Miz basically got tossed completely around the ring and got squashed in this match, and he ended up losing to the Hurt Lock. I thought this was a good way to make Bobby Lashley look strong. They've been doing a really nice job building up to the fact that he was going to be in this title match, and he really came out looking strong. And surprisingly enough, one of the people that congratulated him was Riddle, and they just got done having a feud for the U.S. belt. So he ended up beating Miz with the Hurt Lock. He put the Hurt Lock on Miz twice, and he is the new WWE champion. So I basically got what I wanted, because I had said on a show last week that I thought Bobby Lashley was going to win the belt just because of the way they've been building him up. Whether he goes into Mania with the belt or not, that's a different story. Is he going to have a rematch with The Miz at Fastlane? He could have a match with Drew McIntyre at Fastlane. I would rather see that match at Mania, but that's here nor there. So that is the show for tonight. Actually, it was a pretty good show. I highly recommend going ahead and watch it if you guys didn't. So let's talk about some other news that are going on. I wanted to talk a little bit about New Japan. But hold on one second. I'm just going to pause for just 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to let my dog into the bedroom so he can go to bed. So talking about New Japan. The New Japan Cup, the qualifying matches are going to headline New Japan Strong, which is actually shown on the New Japan World app. So the first one we're going to get is Rocky Romero versus Lio Rush. That's going to be an awesome match. You guys, if you do not watch New Japan Strong, I highly recommend watching it. These guys are putting out phenomenal matches, and they've got the talent. They're using guys from Impact. They're using guys from AEW. They're using guys from the Indies. So here are the 3 qualifying matches we're going to get on Friday. So the New Japan Cup USA qualifying match, Rocky Romero versus Lio Rush, Filthy Tom Lawler versus DKC, And we're going to get a tag team match with Carl Fredericks and Alex Coughlin versus Clark Connors and Kevin Knight. So you can expect to see those two qualifying matches on New Japan Strong. New Japan right now, whether it's on Strong or New Japan, their pay-per-views, these guys are putting out phenomenal matches. I watched Okada versus Evil the other day, and I just was totally taken back. And yeah, definitely check out New Japan. The WWE Network, here is their full list that's coming in March. The documentaries are going to include Goldberg at 54. That's going to be premiering on Sunday, March 7th. Heaven, which is this is the first non-WWE documentary that they're going to be showing. WWE Chronicle, Damien Priest. Meeting Stone Cold. The Birth of the Stunner, which is going to be shown on Peacock and WWE Network. The Day of the Elimination Chamber. And WWE Icons, Beth Phoenix, which is going to be shown on both Peacock and WWE Network. Original series, we're going to get Broken Skull Sessions with Randy Orton. The 50th Greatest Women. Icons Revisited, Beth Phoenix. Total Bellas, Season 6. Fastlane, which is going to be on both Peacock and the WWE Network. And classic content, they're going to be putting on 10 more episodes of WCW Saturday Night. And that's going to be taking place on both Peacock and WWE Network. And then we're going to get some best ofs. We're going to get best of Stone Cold Steve Austin and best of WrestleMania in the 2010s. So those are probably the best WrestleManias to watch if you want. I believe this was in the Attitude Era, where you get The Rock versus Stone Cold and Triple H versus Stone Cold, and a lot of good matches, and The Streak with The Undertaker. So, definitely check those out. Let's see. I did not watch the AEW Women's Eliminator tournament. I watched most of the matches. I didn't get to see the matches tonight, but the finals is going to be the winner of the United States bracket, which is Nyla Rose, which I would have never predicted that. I thought Britt Baker, this was her tournament to win, but they chose Nyla Rose, and she's going to be going against Rio Mizusami. So, or Mizusami. I'll tell you what, Rio had a match with Aja Kong, which was probably the match of the night. So we got two of the bigger women in this tournament going at it. So it ought to be really good. So it's going to be, the final is going to be shown on AEW Dynamite this coming Wednesday. So, and then whoever wins the tournament gets a world title match for the women's belt. Alright. I did a post on my Facebook page that Dark Side of the Ring is going to be doing a confidential show called Dark Side of the Ring Confidential, and it's basically going to be have the creators of Dark Side of the Ring, and they're going to talk about the different. They're going to have a round table thing, and so the round table is going to feature Evan Husney and Jason Eisner, and it's going to be hosted by Conrad Thompson, the Podfather, or the king of the podcasts. And they're going to have special guests like Tommy Dreamer, the Blue Meanie, Savio Vega, former WWE referee Mike Chioda, and they're going to talk about previous episodes like the Von Erichs, the Montreal Screwjob, the Gino Hernandez, and the third season is set to premiere later this year, and the topics that are out there, they're not really confirmed, but there is one that's confirmed, and that's the Brian Pillman episode. They're going to be doing, hopefully, a Dynamite Kid, the Collision in Korea, which was the WCW pay-per-view that took place in Korea, Nick Gage, Chris Kanyon, XPW. They're going to talk about the Smith family, which is basically Grizzly, Smith, Rockin' Robin, Sam Houston, and Jake Roberts. They are all siblings. And they're going to be talking about FMW, which is the Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. So FMW was famous for doing death matches and the exploding barbed wire ring matches, similar to the one that's going to be taking place between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. One of the things that I talked about today on my Facebook page was that New Japan is planning on unifying both the IWGP Heavyweight and the Intercontinental titles. I don't know if this is a good move or not, because the Intercontinental belt has always been the belt that is like the mid-card belt. But right now, New Japan has way too many singles belts. They have the US belt, they have the Never Openweight belt, they have the heavyweight belt, and they also have the Intercontinental belt. So by unifying the two, my big question is that will it be, are they going to get a brand new belt for the heavyweight championship, which would be a shame, because that belt's probably one of the most gorgeous belts that I've ever seen on TV, and it comes off really nice. The Intercontinental belt is a nice looking belt too, although it has been destroyed numerous times by Naito. Back when he didn't have respect for the title, he used to destroy it and used to throw it in the ring, and it got all bent up. And then when I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of his name. When he got beat by it, by this person, they made the belt back into the nicer looking belt. And then when Naito won, obviously Naito was a babyface, and he treated the belt with a little bit more respect. But they are going to unify the belts, and it looks like they're probably going to change the heavyweight belt. I just hope that they don't screw it up and make it to look like some dumb looking WWE title. That's the only thing I could say about that. So, let's see. So that's that. Let's talk about. So New Japan announced their 49th anniversary show. The entire card has been announced. Headlined by Kota Ibushi versus El Desperado. This match is going to blow the roof off the Tokyo Dome if it's in the Tokyo Dome. These two guys can go, and they've got history, and now El Desperado has the IWGP Light Heavyweight belt, or the Junior Heavyweight belt. I'm sorry, they don't call it the Light Heavyweight. They call it the Junior Heavyweight belt. This is going to be the show. If you want to watch a good show, this is the show to watch. Because we're also going to get a New Japan first round match versus Naito versus the Great Khan. Another first round match versus Kojima versus Jeff Cobb. We're going to get Tanahashi, Juice Robinson, David Finlay, Toa Henare, Taguchi versus Evil, Kenta, Chase Owens, Jay White, and Tajiri Ashimori, obviously known as Bullet Club Japan. We're also going to get Master Wato, Gabriel Kidd, Hanama, Hiroki Goto versus Tachi, Minoru Suzuki, Zack Sabre Jr., and Dukai. This is going to be the show that you guys want to watch if you're going to watch a New Japan show. There's another show that if you're looking to get familiar with New Japan and you're not, highspots.com sells a get accustomed to New Japan Wrestling with English commentary. You can order that. I think it's only like $10. And it has some pretty good matches on there. It has Kenny Omega versus Okada. It's got Naito versus Okada on there, I believe, and a lot of good light heavyweight match or junior heavyweight matches. I keep saying light heavyweight, and it's actually junior heavyweight. So you're gonna want to check this card out, the 49th anniversary show, and it takes place on March 4th, and you'll be able to see that on New Japan World. All right, let's see what else. Those of you that didn't see Ring of Honor this past weekend, we had Shane Taylor versus Rush, and Rush actually retained his heavyweight belt, which I do watch ROH, but I don't watch it as much because I have a tough time watching it because there's no crowd. I've said this in the past that WWE and AEW do a real nice job in piping in the crowd noise. And now Impact is doing that too. So it makes it a little easier to watch the shows. Ring of Honor hasn't gotten to that point. They are doing a nice job with the wrestling itself, but not having the crowd there just doesn't make it easy to watch for me. So that's ROH news. those of you that didn't see this past Friday, New Japan Strong, I urge you guys to go ahead and watch that show. We got Kenta versus John Moxley, and a little bit of a spoiler, John Moxley retained the U.S. belt, which surprised me, against Kenta, and now they can continue the storyline and start bringing in some New Japan guys to AEW and Impact. They've already started that by doing having David Finlay and Juice Robinson on Impact, and I would love to see them bring over Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. Tama Tonga is gold on the mic, and he just doesn't care what he says, and he would have to scale back his language, obviously, for AEW, but I would love to see them come in and invade, and even having the Tongans go up against the Good Brothers would be money. I mean, like the guys on Closed Fist say, take my money. These are the matches that the fans want to see. So, so hopefully AEW starts bringing in some more New Japan guys. I would love to also see Jay White come over and attack Kenny Omega. That would be gold. I mean, basically the leader of Bullet Club USA versus the leader of Bullet Club Japan. And I would love to even see them put in Okada in there too. Let Okada come in and have a couple matches. Can even restart his feud with Kenny Omega. I mean, those guys. If you want to see matches that define New Japan, watch the trilogy matches between Kenny Omega and Okada. I had originally had an idea to do a watch along with my buddy Gary, who has his own podcast, Husky Heroes and Healthy Heroines. But every time I go to show matches, I do watch along matches, they get deleted off of YouTube. So even though I got the matches from YouTube, I did a show last Thursday where I did some watch alongs with ESW, which ESW is a local independent show here in Buffalo, New York. I got permission from the owner of ESW, Brett, to do this, and YouTube still deleted the show. So tomorrow I'm planning on doing some more watch-alongs with some ESW matches. I got them to send me a match between Chris Hero and Brandon Thurston. And there's a couple other matches that I want to show. Chris Hero versus Brandon Thurston, which took place on June 2015. This was before Chris Hero went to the WWE for the second time, and he has since been let go once again. But Chris Hero did a phenomenal job in ESW getting the local guys over. So I want to show that match, and I think there's one other match, actually a couple other matches that I want to show. When I find them, I'm going to be searching on YouTube for them. But I like doing the watch-alongs because it gets people um, it gets people interested in the local indies. And I've said this before. Some of the best matches that I've seen take place on the indies. They're not on WWE. They're not on AEW. They're absolutely not on Impact, and they're definitely not on ROH. Basic, and the reason being is because these guys are told to go out and tell a story, which they don't do on those televisions. AEW does somewhat of a nice job with it, but WWE doesn't give the guys enough time in the ring to tell a story. So the local shows, although they do have time limits on them, they let the guys go out and really show what they can do. So that's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a watch along with some ESW matches and maybe a couple other matches I can see. But I'm going to call it a night tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I did have one new follow, Mary Clark. And I want to appreciate Mary for following the Wrestling Angle Facebook page. The Facebook page has been getting quite a bunch of hits since I've been putting some news and special things up there. So obviously this show you can see on the Wrestling Angle 1 page on Facebook. You can also see it on Twitch at twitch.tv/thewrestlingangle1. You can check me out on Instagram at ECW, the number 4 LFE, so ECW for life. And you can also check me out on Twitter. I'm on Twitter quite a bit. I like to post stuff on there. You can check me out on ECW, the number 4 LFE. That's ECW for life. So I'm going to call it a night, guys. I'm going to be back at noon tomorrow to do some watch-alongs with ESW matches. And hopefully everybody can join us, or join me, and join in the conversation, guys. I always say that. If you're a follower, if you're a watcher of this show, join in the conversation. Jump in the stream, jump in the chat, and we can talk wrestling. I love interacting with people, and I love to get other people's opinions on the shows. So I'm going to call it a night, and I will see you guys tomorrow at noon. Everybody have a good night.